All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kabbalah Café. We have so much to get to today. Today's class is all about, when you talk about Kabbalah, so one of the first names that comes to mind is the Arizal, right? The great Rabbi Yitzchak, or sometimes he's known as Isaac. I don't know why we give these guys English names. It's not like they lived, in English countries. Nonetheless, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, known as the Arizal, the Holy Ari. And when you think about the Arizal, I think a few things come to mind. Number one, the Arizal is the father of Lurianic Kabbalah. Well, that would make sense because his name was Isaac or Yitzchak Luria. Lurianic Kabbalah is the stream of Kabbalah that is named literally after him. One of the things that is so emblematic of Lurianic Kabbalah is this idea of, number one, he brought a lot of things together. So number one, we all share a collective mission, and individually, our life contains a single unified mission. So in a strong sense, he brought together many into one. He talked about Shvirat HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels, and the sparks that are found everywhere, and the fact that our job is to collect the sparks, that everything we do, everywhere we go, every activity we're in, every person we encounter, every place that we find ourselves, Ramon, good morning, randomly, and seemingly by accident, it's all by divine providence, all by divine design, because there's something for us to do there every part of our lives. There's a thread running through it and bring it all together. So again, e pluribus unum, from many one, he kind of wove together this diversity of existence and this plurality and this idea that, life is so fragmented. He said, no, fragmented. Oh, fragmented. The goal is to bring the fragments all together and create unity, because God is one, and we also have oneness that drives us and that compels us in our life's missions. That's one major idea. But the other thing he did, and I think along the same lines, is he talked a lot about reincarnation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's a topic always that piques a lot of interest when we talk about reincarnation, because everyone's wondering, was I here before? Will I be here again? How would I know? Am I supposed to know? Can I channel or conjure up or somehow summon previous life experiences? Can they inform my life? Should they not inform my life, etc.? And so reincarnation is always a topic that is very compelling, very interesting, very sought after. And I will say it comes up again and again and again. That was a joke. Reincarnation, the reincarnation joke. Very good. I do it again. I do it again. So, hold on. We closed it on, there we go. All right. Good. So back to the story. The Arizal discusses reincarnation extensively. In fact, the Kabbalistic understanding of what reincarnation is driven by the Holy Ari, by the Arizal of Isaac Luria, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. It's not only is our understanding of reincarnation driven by him, but he also charts reincarnations throughout history. Some of the most interesting combinations of characters the Arizal connects in this beautiful web, this intertwine of reincarnation. And so today we're going to explore one of these examples. But first, I feel like explaining, Ramon, breakfast is... Oh, I'm definitely not kicking you out because it's about to get good. All right. So, okay. So, hold on.
What's Arizal?
Arizal. That's what he's known as. No, that's his name. That's his nickname.
Arizal.
The Ari, Zichron Livracha. The Holy Ari, that is, I don't know what the Aleph stands for, but the whatever, Rabbeinu Yitzchak. So that's the Ri. Ari is something Rabbeinu Yitzchak. And then Zal, Zichron Livracha. That's it. Arizal.
It's a contraction for a rabbi's nickname.
Yeah. And it's a chicken dish with a slate balsamic. I'm kidding. Arizal. Now, getting back to the story. So the Arizal explains that reincarnation, what does it mean? What is reincarnation? Before we continue. Reincarnation doesn't mean that the same soul comes back in a different body, as we've discussed in many other classes, including in the famous course called Journey of the Soul. or as I like to call it, Journey of the Soulish. That's never gets old. Well, it does, but we only say it never gets old just to soothe our own feelings. But anyway, so in the famous course Journey of the Soul, we discuss this multiple occasions. This idea that reincarnation is not the same soul coming back in multiple containers. It's not like you have, if the soul would be the liquid and you would have a cup as the body. It's not like when one body is done, you pour the liquid into a new cup. Ta-da! Brand new cup, same liquid, right? New packaging. It's like when I go buy the matzo ball mix in the supermarket, and Manischewitz, for the umpteenth time, changes the design of the box. It's like, I don't even know what's happening. Oh, hold on. We got intel. Ashkenazi. The A stands for Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi, Rabbeinu Yitzchak, Zichron Livracha. Okay. Ashkenazi? That was a Sephardi. That result would have been a Sephardi. It would have been in Sfat. Yeah, you think he was. Anyway, all right, whatever.
What's the name of Ashkenaz? Is the name, right?
I don't think, no, his name was Luria. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, bottom line is the following. Reincarnation is not the same soul coming back in multiple containers, multiple bodies throughout time. Rather, it is a branch, an offshoot from the original soul that is granted another chance, another mission, another opportunity. It's kind of like a child that branches off of the parents. So it has its own identity on some level. And on the other hand, it also is carrying forth the mission of the parents, which is why we put so much guilt on them. Get all the stuff that I didn't get done. I'm kidding. Healthy parenting. Let's do healthy parenting. Let's not burden them with that guilt. But reincarnation is really this idea, this magnificent idea that the dramas throughout history have a continuation. And so the Rizal in his Shar HaGolgulim, which literally means the chamber of reincarnation, there's extensive conversation about what reincarnation is and who is a reincarnation of whom, etc. All right, so now let's get into some concepts. And the way we're going to segue into the reincarnation concept is by going back to the first sin that visited humanity. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't we do this a few weeks ago? The answer is yes. But today we're going to pick this up in a bit of a different place. So as we all know, the Torah tells us in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Day 1 was great. Day 2 was great. Day 3 was great. Day 4 was great. Day 5 was great. Day 6 started off great and then went off the rails. What happened? As we know, the animals were created in the morning, and in the early afternoon or late morning, early afternoon, Adam and Eve were created, Adam and Chava, and there's a bit of a difference of opinion or different narratives as to how exactly Adam and Eve were created. The famous narrative that I think everyone is familiar with is that first there was Adam, and then God took a bone, a rib, something from Adam, from his side, and from that fashioned Eve, and thus Eve is born. That's one version. Another version, which is also found in Torah, is that God created Zachar u'Nekeva, bara otam. He created them initially, male and female. And according to one Midrashic tradition, they were actually combined, back to back, fused together. Can you imagine when you want to go one way? Hilarity ensues. It's almost like a slapstick comedy. Potato sack race.
It's a push and pull you.
Tie the ankle together, right? That sort of thing. And meanwhile, there were two, but they were connected, but it was back to back. It wasn't unified, and so God took the old, I don't know, human buzzsaw, if that's a thing, sliced and diced, right? Separating them into two, and thus they were able to join face to face instead of back to back. All right, either way. So now we have Adam and Eve, and we know that they had a mission until Shabbat, which was just a few hours away, till Shabbat, to not eat from the forbidden fruit. After Shabbat, according to tradition, it would have been permitted. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, legit. And of course, the moment God said, hey, you can have anything you want, just one thing not. The next thing you know, everyone's like, okay, let's talk about the thing that we can't have, because that seems really interesting. Only because I can't have it, that's why it seems highly intriguing. And so Adam and Eve, on their own, really, they weren't, all joking aside, on their own, they weren't really drawn to that tree, but the serpent comes over to Eve and says, hey, check it out. And Eve sees that it looks good, and she tastes it, and she loves it. She gives it to Adam, and he tastes it, and he loves it. And then the comeuppance, inventing English as we go along here. That's when the comeuppance happens. Comeuppance, i.e. consequences, The snake loses its legs, has to slither. Eve, the process of creating life is now difficult. Adam, making a living. Eve has to make a life. It's interesting. Women also, they could also do the other, but women can make life. Men can make a living. And both will be fraught with difficulty, pain, and hardship. Okay, that was it. Oh, and one more thing. Arois, in Yiddish, out. Out of Gan Eden, out of the Garden of Eden. Okay, that's the aftermath. Now, Kabbalah says that that's not where the story ends. Because you and I, and this is very important, you and I live our lives, and this is, again, Arizal, Loriana, Kabbalah, this is like, everything is intertwined. No story happens in isolation. We're all part of this web. It's like, imagine, it's such a, okay, I know I said this before, I'm going to say it again, because I'm so excited about it this morning, as you can tell. It's like everyone, okay, I think most human beings love a story, stories. And what defines a story? Drawing different pieces of information together. That's what makes a narrative. It's like, otherwise, it's like disconnected scenes. One scene, another scene, another scene. It's like, all right, it seems weird. It's not a story, right? Chapter 1, random scene. Chapter 2, random scene. If you read a book like that, you best believe that at the end, you want something to tie it all together. Because otherwise, where's the story? So when Kabbalah ties things together across centuries, across, dare I say, millennia, that's kind of cool. And so the Arizal says, here's what's going on. You and I, well, all human beings post Adam and Eve, share in the mission of tikkun. That's another thing the Arizal, I'm not going to say invented, but really taught. Tikkun. Our job is to fix what happened in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden, with that forbidden fruit, with that snake. What does that mean? Well, think about what happened. What happened was there was a misappropriation of energy from, I would say, well, let's just call it a misappropriation of energy to the dark side. Let's explain what that means. So everything has divine light, energy, life force, chayot, or whatever you want to call it, shefa. Everything has divine energy flowing through it, everything that exists. If not for that, it wouldn't exist. Now, I know you're thinking, what do you mean? Scientifically, we can figure out that things have molecules and atoms and particles and whatever. Sure. What holds it all together? And what drives it? And what makes that be that? What makes a molecule and not collapse in just collapse? What gives it its reality? It's God. God is flowing through everything. And our job is to do the following. Our job is to live here in this world, to take the stuff of this world and elevate it for Kedusha, or elevate it to Kedusha. Kedusha means holiness. That's our job, straight up. And that is Tikkun Olam. That's how we fix the world. There was a shattering of the vessels I mentioned before, and shards, divine energy, is found all over the place. It's like when you drop a glass cup, right, in the middle of the kitchen floor, and the next thing you know, there's glass everywhere. It's not like it just stayed right there. It's like, oh, one piece of glass broken in half. Not happening. Not happening. There's now 1,000 shards. You turn off your light. You put on one of those. I have a vacuum cleaner that has like a green light. I don't even know what it's called. Right? It's a. You know what I'm talking about? Turn off the lights, and I mean you could also do it, but it's better. It's more dramatic. Turn off the light, and then it shines this like light, and you could see everything on the floor. Every speck of dust, every piece of glass, right? And it's like glasses everywhere. It's like underneath things. It's like under the fridge. It's under the this. It's glasses everywhere. The shards that broke with the shattering of the vessels, those shards, those divine points of light are everywhere, embedded in everything. And what is our job? Literally to go around the world, and by divine design, we come in contact with what we come in contact with and utilize that thing for higher purpose. That is it. That is it. So when we have a cup of tea, raspberry tea, and you're wondering, where was the raspberry tea? Secret stash. I have it in my house. If anyone wants raspberry tea, let me know after the class. I can hook you up with it. Anyway, so it's about taking the raspberry tea or the eggs or the bagel or the coffee or whatever. Today's a barbecue festival, or the brisket from your favorite, barbecue team today at Brook Run Park from 12 to 4. Join us. When I say us, I mean the collective us. I'll be there as a consumer. Kosher barbecue festival, dozens of teams from around the country. And in the past, it's been like $1. You get a little sample cup, $1 a taste. You get a ticket, you taste it, you vote. It's great. Back to the story. You take the food, you eat it, and then you elevate it. How do you elevate it? No, you don't like hold it up. Like, oh, I've elevated my raspberry tea. That's not what I mean. You eat it, you integrate it, becomes part of you, and then you turn around and with that energy, you study some Torah. That's what we're doing right now. Y'all are elevating your breakfast. That's pretty cool. We're all elevating it together. Can you imagine? Or you daven, or you do a mitzvah. You pray, do a mitzvah, study Torah, whatever it is. You do something positive with the energy, now you're elevating. And Kabbalah always speaks of food as the example. Now, is it not true that there's other experiences in life that we can elevate through conscious participation in it? Mindful participation? Absolutely. But food, A, is something that we do all the time. And B, I know it's a fairly straightforward example. And it kind of brings out the idea very easily. Like, am I eating it just to fill, my appetite, or am I engaging in eating in order to elevate that energy by integrating it and then using it for a higher purpose? That's what it comes down to. So eating is like emblematic of the life's mission of tikkun, because when we do that, we rectify, we recapture those sparks of energy and reconnect them. So what happens with Adam and Eve? What happens? They're eating in all the wrong ways. They're eating what they shouldn't, when they shouldn't. It's all a mistake. I don't mean like they're let off the hook, but it's all problematic. It's all not right. And so what happens? The energy that's in that food, that was in the forbidden fruit, the energy there has now been transferred to the dark side. Had they not eaten from it, the energy would have remained. And then at some point, it might have become, as I said, permitted. At which point they would have taken the food, eaten it, and elevated it, maybe even on Shabbat. Right? It's like eating gefilte fish midweek. We don't do that. It's like, who does that? Gefilte fish on Shabbat. Oh, you can elevate it now. That is a joke. But in their case, yeah, on Shabbat, they could have eaten from that tree. But now it was forbidden. So what happens? They take the energy. Now it's sitting there. The energy is waiting for its moment of liberation. What happened? Instead of liberating and elevating it, what they do? They took it and degraded it. Poor fruit. I was going to say poor apple, but we don't believe it's an apple. Whatever it is. Poor forbidden fruit. Right? It stood at some point to be able to be rectified and elevated. And now, instead of tikkun, instead of being tikkuned, right? It's now become broken, further messed up. You took it and you degraded it. When I say you, I mean Adam and Eve. They took it and degraded it. By whose advice? By the serpent. The serpent represents the force in creation and even within ourselves that tries to drive us and push us to mess around with energy. Instead of elevating things, to degrade them. Instead of utilizing the opportunities that we have for a higher purpose, to engage in the opportunities for a degrading purpose, for a lower purpose, to take the energy and schlep it downward instead of lifting it up. This is where free choice comes in. That which is a mitzvah is a mitzvah. I mean, you can do a mitzvah, but you're not making it a mitzvah. I mean, think about it. A pair of tefillin. You can choose to wrap it or not wrap it. But when you wrap it, you're not making it into a mitzvah. It's already been made into a mitzvah. It's already a mitzvah. But lunch on a Friday morning is not a mitzvah. It stands in this magical space of neutrality. And now the human being has the power to literally shape the definition of this experience and of this food. Is it a higher experience or lower experience? That's where free choice comes in. And so what does the serpent do? The serpent says, let's degrade. Let's go into it, but instead of elevating it, let's do it for all the wrong reasons, all the wrong ways, just everything wrong. That's what the snake wants to do.
Do you think the serpent knew the Shabbat exception?
Yeah, by the way, just so you know, the serpent wasn't acting deviously, it was acting per its command. God said, this is your job. Your job, it's almost like the actor in a movie who plays the bad guy. He's not actually the bad guy. He's been hired to play the bad guy. Unless he's actually the bad guy, in which case he doesn't have to act. I'm kidding, right? But it's not actually the bad guy. He's playing the bad guy. So God creates forces that play the bad guy. Why? To tempt us, to challenge us, to make it meaningful when we don't follow that. So you have this experience where the serpent comes along and says, here's all this potential energy that at some point can be harnessed for positive. But instead of that, we're going to have it in a degrading fashion. We're going to engage in it, enjoy it in a way that's lowly. And by the way, it's not an ancient story. It's not an ancient story. It's not like, oh, once upon a time, Adam and Eve got whatever. They got taken for a ride. It happens all the time. Anytime we get, let's talk about food again. Keep it a clean example. Anytime we engage in food and eating food, and we do so not with higher intentions, but rather with base animalistic tendencies, animals also have to eat. So if we eat because we're hungry or because we need the food, whatever it is, we're basically on the same level as animals. They also eat, right? If we don't say a blessing beforehand, we don't say a blessing afterwards, we just eat it because we're hungry and we satisfy our cravings. Again, very similar to the way an animal eats. Not that much different. It's not that much different. Comes along Judaism and says there's another model. You can eat with a higher intention. You can eat for a higher purpose. You can eat and make it an elevatory experience. And then the snake comes along and says, no, don't. Only eat to satisfy your gullet. Only eat to satisfy your cravings.
I'm sure he's not the only one. Manus Friedman had postulated that it was a mistake. They knew the situation, that there was this energy trapped behind this dam and it wasn't going to stay there forever. And they made a calculated decision that at some point we're going to have to take this energy and transform it. And they did it on purpose, not realizing it was going to take us a few thousand years to figure this out, not just a few hours. And
that's one way. Yeah, we're going in a slightly different direction. Not to say that that's not correct, but there's within Kabbalah there's different angles on this. So we're taking the one that's saying that based on the measures that had they waited a few hours, it would have been permitted. Then it would have been able to elevate. They jumped the gun. It would
have been a different energy after Shabbat.
It would have been unlocked. The difference between mutar and asur, permitted and forbidden, because the Hebrew word asur literally means tied. It means the energy is locked down.
Yeah.
You can't elevate it. What do you mean? I ate it and I had the energy and I davened. Doesn't work like that. Even if it sounds like that's what's going on. That's what the mistake that King Saul made. King Saul, God says, destroy Amalek. And then they had a chance. And then the prophet Shmuel and Rabbi Samuel comes to the battlefield and says to Saul, so you did it? Yep. All good. Then what are those animals that I hear making noises? It's like, oh, the animals. Oh, we're going to bring them a sacrifice to God. And and Samuel says the famous line, and I forget the Hebrew, does God want your sacrifices or does he want you to listen to him? Meaning you can make a calculation from today to tomorrow. No, this is going to be the greatest flip in history. Imagine taking Amalek animals, like the worst of the worst, whatever they represent, that level of klipa, that level of unholiness, and imagine transforming it into an offering to God. Oh my gosh, that'll just blow the top off the whole universe. There'll be so much light, God won't even be able to know what to do with it. And the response is, don't play God. God is telling you what you can touch, what you can't touch, when you can touch it, when you can't touch it, etc. Look, in life, it's the same thing. In life, there are situations where at some point in time, something is off limits. And then at a later point in time, it is on limits. And there's many different areas without getting into details. And the point is, the same experience that at a different time would be completely kosher, at this point is not kosher. And the serpent says, well, do it now. And if you do it now, you're not going to elevate the energy. And so what does the serpent do? Ultimately, what is the serpent all about? If you strip this story from its literal context and you think about, okay, what is the story of Adam and Eve in Gan Eden all about? You know what it's about? It's very simple. It's about a serpent tricking Adam and Eve into degrading themselves and degrading the energy around them, meaning missing out on an opportunity to elevate, but instead lowering down the energy. That's what it's about. Taking the energy and schlepping it down, pulling it down into unholiness, as opposed to lifting it up into a place of holiness. That is what the serpent, and how did it do it? B'mirma, with cunning, deceit, treachery. It says, no, it's going to be good, and it wasn't good. It'll be amazing. It'll be just like God. Really? Not exactly. And and because of that, they degraded themselves and the energy and the possibility and the opportunity, and they lost it. Comes along the Arizal and says, guess what? You and I, forever, I mean, until Mashiach comes and the job is done, you and I have one job, and that is to fix that mistake. Can you imagine? I mean, that happened day number 6 of creation. It's the Jewish year 5,786. For 5,786 years, plus a few months at this point, we have been working on rectifying that mistake. Wow. Talk about Jewish guilt. Fixing a problem for thousands of years. Human beings have been trying and been working on fixing the problem. What is the opposite of the problem? In other words, to fix something, you have to do the opposite of how it broke, right? That the tikkun is going to be the opposite of the shvira, of what broke, or what the mishap. So what was the mishap? Was taking the energy and degrading it. What's the fix? Elevating it. But here's the key. And what does that mean? Like we've said, when you eat food, say a bracha, say a blessing beforehand and a blessing afterwards. Every food should be a sandwich of blessings before and after. Be mindful. Make sure what you're eating is able to be uplifted at the right time, the right place, the right food, the right mindset, and then eat it, enjoy it, take the energy, and do something great with it. That's it. That's the tikkun. That's how you fix it. But there's one more piece. And that's what we're going to get to today. I have copies. And you know what that last piece is? Just like the snake did it with treachery, guess what? Mida keneged mida. Measure for measure. We also need to engage in a little treachery and trickery. You know what that means?
We're all pirates.
That means we go into an experience and we look like everybody else. You don't notice the difference between people eating the burger or the breakfast. One person, the other person, you have no idea. Person says, hey, I'm just eating like everyone else. What's going on the inside? On the inside, there's the mindset of I'm doing this not just to satisfy my cravings, but I'm doing this to elevate. That's not something visible on the outside. We always wonder, why did Jacob have to take the blessings deceitfully? Why did he have to take the blessings? By dressing up like Esau, by dressing up like his brother, putting on the outward appearance of someone who's just a hunter, just someone who's all about gratification and killing and whatever. But meanwhile, on the inside, he's Yaakov. Why couldn't he just be up front? The answer is because that is our job. Our job is because the sparks are not just going to come to us if we're so upfront about it. You have to dress up like the Esau. You have to dress up a little bit duplicitous. To dress up like the Esau. Put on the suit, put on the tie, and then go ahead, go in and get the sparks and come out. Everyone's going to work, right? In a meeting. One person, the other person, but 1 out of 5 people in the meeting is doing it l'shem shamayim for a higher purpose. 1 of the 5 is working, not just because they want to earn a lot of money, but because they want the money to use also for good things, to make the world a better place. You can't see it on the outside. They're wearing the garments of Esau. But on the inside, it is Yaakov. I hear some noise.
Your phone.
No worries, no worries. All right. Now, the way we're going to do this is, we're going to read this inside. And this is going to be chapter, one second. This is going to be chapter 4. I'm going to put it up on the screen soon. It's a beautiful chapter, and I'm excited to read it together with you all this morning. All right, please take and pass. Please take it.
That God actually used treachery by, taking these pure, innocent soul humans and telling them something that he knew that they could not resist.
No, there was free choice. Nah, there was still free choice.
No setup.
I mean, it was set up, but it's like we're all set up on that level. In other words, there's always a challenge. So it's not like we can't. Yeah, we got you covered. All right, let's go. Let's read this. I think, look, we have about 20 minutes. The goal is we're going to read this inside. It's a beautiful chapter. It's very straightforward. Listen, as I read it, I'm going to translate some of the mystical terminology, and it should all make sense. Listen, we've been learning, I think more or less all of us have been learning over the last several months, these ideas. It's all coming together here in the second half of this discourse. So number 4, chapter 4, the original deception. The justification for deception. Oh, look at this. In returning Esau's nitzotzot to holiness. All right, already we need to break this down. The justification for deception, those first 4 words, you know what it means? How could the moral person how could Yaakov, Jacob, the patriarch, our patriarch Jacob, take the blessings from his father deceitfully while dressing up like his brother? That doesn't seem right. So he's explaining right now the justification for deception in returning Esau's nitzotzot to holiness. Nitzotzot means sparks of divine energy. And Esau, remember, the blessing was supposed to go to Esau, but Esau was, as we've discussed up until now, unable to elevate it himself. He was too tied down in materialism. He was not going to elevate it. He was going to just enjoy it and sink down, and he was going to absorb the energy and just take it down. So so it needed to go. So he said that the mother, Rebecca, knew that it's got to go to Jacob. Jacob's going to elevate it and then bring his brother also, ultimately teach his brother how to elevate things also. Great. But why deception? So here we go. The justification for deception is that these nitzotzot, these sparks, initially entered Esau, meaning the other side, by way of deception. Meaning, why are the nitzotzot in general so difficult to elevate? It's because of the original deception. What is the original deception? Well, we already know. As the verse states, the serpent was cunning, for it deceived Eve and Adam. And that is in the correct chronological order. First Eve and then Adam. Thus, the holy nitzotzot, again, nitzotzot are the sparks. The holy sparks were initially taken by deceptive means. When the snake said to Eve and Adam, eat it, it's going to be great for you. Meanwhile, it's degrading. And therefore, they need to be taken back through deception. Midah keneged midah, measure for measure. They went down with deception. They need to come up with deception. This is why Jacob and Rebecca, listen to this. Now we get into reincarnation. Jacob was the son who took the blessings through deception, and Rebecca was the mother who gave him the idea to do so. Listen to this. This is why Jacob and Rebecca, who represent Adam and Eve, since the radiance of Jacob is comparable to that of the first man, Adam, and Rebecca represents the spiritual state of Eve, that's why they use deception to take the blessings from Esau. And then, so now we drop a bomb across literal millennia. Remember, Abraham is born in the year 1948. Very easy year to remember. Avraham Avinu Abraham is born in the Jewish year 1948. Okay? Again, very easy to remember. This is his grandson, Jacob. So we're talking about 2,000 years into humanity, after the sin of Adam and Eve, comes along the mystics and the Midrash also and says, listen up, Jacob is a reincarnation of Adam, and Rebecca is a reincarnation of Eve. And just like they were hoodwinked, I don't know if that's the right word, just like they were taken for a ride by the serpent, now they need to do the full circle of tikkun. They need to take the serpent for a ride. They need to employ deception now. They can't just be upfront and be like, hey, we're just taking the blessings. We're just taking the blessings. Everyone wonders, why can't you just tell Isaac, you're taking the blessings? That's it. Esau is not worthy. Jacob should get the blessings. End of story. Because it's much larger than that individual moment. We're talking about a cosmic drama that spans 2,000 years. And it's got to come full circle. Just like initially, the sparks were degraded through deception. In the tikkun, in the fixing, and the repair, they got to be fixed and elevated also through deception. That's the only way it's going to come full circle. It's got to come through deception. So that's why they use deception to take the blessings from Esau. It's not about fooling Isaac. It's not about him. It's about taking the blessings that were earmarked for Esau. Esau is symbolic in this context of the snake. The snake stole it from you. You need to steal it back. The snake got it from you with deception. You need to take it back with deception. It's got to parallel the experience of loss. You have to fix something in the place that was broken. If someone, God forbid, breaks a bone, they don't set a different leg. That would be silly. If someone breaks a tooth, you don't work on another tooth. I mean, you could also work on another tooth in case they need multiple. It's probably happened before, right? I don't mean to you. I mean that you guys have done. All right. The point is, no, I don't mean, okay. The point is that you got to fix it. The fix is where it's broken. And where is it broken? In a space of deception and degradation. So how do you fix it? Deception and elevation. That you got to fix it in the same spot. And utilizing the same means. Otherwise, there's no tikkun, there's no fixing. So the fixing, the tikkun, the repair has to be in the same exact space. I always like telling this story, this joke about a guy that's in a parking lot and he's looking. And he's like under a light, street lamp. He's like looking. Somebody walks by, says, what are you looking for? He's like, I lost my keys. My car's over there, I lost my keys. And the guy's like, all right, can I help you look? Yeah, looking. And it's a pretty open area. It's like a parking lot or something. And he can't find, the guy can't find it. He's like, yeah, when was the last time you saw it? He's like, well, I lost it all the way over there somewhere. He's like, so why are you looking here? He's like, well, here's where the light is. And that was the joke. I kind of sped through the punchline. Sorry. Right? That's where the light is. Like, that's not a valid reason. That's like the moth joke. You know the moth joke.
Sure.
The famous moth joke. Norm Macdonald.
Oh, really?
Oh, and he did this on Conan once. It was an unbelievable joke because he dragged it out. This moth goes to a podiatrist, flies into the podiatrist's office. The podiatrist says, how can I help you? Moth says, listen, I'm going through a really rough time. You know, and my kids haven't turned out the way I wanted them to turn out. You know, my job is unfulfilling. My wife, you know, it just gives me a hard time. All this stuff. Like, I'm really struggling. The podiatrist says, I'm a podiatrist. Sounds like you need a psychiatrist or psychologist. It's like, why are you here? He's like, well, the light was on. A moth. It's not just about doing the fix. You have to do it the right way. You have to fix it in the place that it's broken. You have to address the problem. And the root of the problem is not just a misappropriation of divine energy. It's a misappropriation of divine energy that was the product of deceit. And so the tikkun, the actual repair of that, to flip it, is not just to elevate the sparks, but to also do so in a way of deception. Let's continue and say. Second paragraph 54, as is known. Here we go. Now we're going to get into some Kabbalistic language. I love this. All right, so just stick with me. I'm going to explain everything. As is known, the statement, birur. Birur means refinement or elevation. Birur is accomplished by means of chachma. So let me just pause here for a moment. There's a statement. Let's see, we're 96. 96, Zohar. Okay, well, yeah, it's definitely Kabbalah. So Zohar says like this: "It's beriru b'chachma." That where and when does birur means to select, to choose. So in this context, it means to take the divine sparks and elevate them out, to pull them out and elevate them, as opposed to just let them be degraded, but to elevate, to mindfully choose the holiness of this activity and pull it out. So that only happens through chachma. Let's continue. That refers to the level. What type of chachma? Chachma means wisdom. But what does that mean? Refers to the level of chachma stima'a. That means hidden wisdom or supernal wisdom. Wisdom that's so lofty, it's almost beyond even knowing. Since it is the primary source of energy for birur, chachma stima, this higher level of chachma, of wisdom, is the primary source of energy for the process of refinement and elevation, as explained in the Siddur. That's referring to the, there's an edition of the Siddur prayer book that has, it's called Siddur Imdach, Daled Aleph Chet, which stands for Divrei Elokim Chaim, which is a euphemism for Chasidut. There's a Siddur Imdach, Siddur with Chasidut, meaning Hasidic, deep Hasidic thoughts as you read the Siddur. Most people do not pray with that Siddur because it's, you want to move through it. But there is a thing, a Chabad publication, Siddur Imdach, Siddur with Chassidut, and it connects the prayers, the words of the prayers, with the loftiest mystical ideas. And so he's saying that's explained in the Siddur with reference to the words Baruch Sha'amar. Baruch Omer, what is it? Baruch Omer v'oseh. Blessed is he who says and does. And so over there it says that connected, that the birur happens, refinement, elevation happens through chachma stima. Fine. What is chachma stima? Chachma stima is called cunning. As the verse states, I, wisdom, dwell with cunning, meaning wisdom and cunning, wisdom and treachery are roommates, as explained elsewhere. For this reason, the method of refinement also involves cunning because it involves wisdom, and wisdom involves cunning. And I feel like we should probably explain. Doesn't mean that all chachma is duplicitous and is not forthcoming and whatever. What it means is like this: that chachma is almost something. Chachma stima. Let's talk about chachma for a second. Chachma is not just wisdom. Chachma is the initial flash of insight that a person has when trying to figure out a problem, that initial flash of insight. And so chachma in general is marked by a lack of fully knowing the thing. Like you know that you know it, or you know that you got an insight, but you haven't actually fleshed it out. Nor can you explain it to someone else, let alone, you can't explain it to yourself, let alone to someone else at that stage. You have to think about it, ponder it, work it through in your mind. That is the process of bina, and then you can explain it. Then you can share it, convey it to others, or write it down, or whatever. But the first thing is you have to make it make sense to you. So chachma in general is marked by this idea of hiddenness. It's not even, all you know is that you got something, but you haven't even opened the package yet. It's that initial like, aha, I got it. What do you got? I'll tell you soon. And then you have to open up the box and oh, that's what I got. So chachma stima is this higher level of chachma that is intertwined with this notion of mystery, of not being forthcoming, of not being on the surface what it really is. On the surface, it's a little opaque. Again, the wisdom the initial flash of insight that comes to a person, that a person yet has not unpacked, or has yet to unpack, and therefore is hidden in a thing. Well, that's the idea of something hidden in a container. Meaning there's what you see and then there's what's inside. And that again represents the idea of cunning. It looks one way on the outside, but it's something else on the inside. On the outside, it's aha. On the inside, it's whatever that aha is. So chachma and treachery, or chachma and duplicity, chachma and cunning are roommates. They exist in the same space. So now let's get to this idea back inside of how we connect all the dots. When a person deals, and here he gives now he gives practical examples. And from here on out, it's going to get very practical as we've been sharing up until now. And this will be our final run to the end of today's session. When a person deals with the physical, as for example, when one eats, he elevates the food if he eats it for the sake of heaven. He does not elevate the food if he eats to fill his desire. He only elevates it if he utilizes the strength from eating to pray and study Torah, and I will add also to do a mitzvah. When a person effectively rids himself of desire for the physical, and this is a high level, right? And eats only because he needs to eat, meaning he needs the energy to do the next good thing. He does not taste the flavor of the food or enjoy it as much. The more he rids himself of desire, the more he loses enjoyment. In other words, why do you eat? It's all about the why. Why are you eating? Are you eating because you want something tasty? Or are you eating because you need the energy to do the next good thing? The example that I always use is refueling your car. It's very simple when it comes to pulling up to the gas station. It's very obvious to everyone why you're there, and to yourself as well. I'm there because I need to refuel to keep on going. It's very simple. It's not like, oh, I love this gasoline. You love the gasoline. It's very practical. It's very utilitarian. And what he's saying here is when a person has the mindset of eating is refueling my body to do that, to keep on going. And why am I going? To do the next mitzvah. Then it takes a little bit of the taiva, takes a little bit of the physical indulgence of the food out of the picture. And in this context, he's saying it's a good thing. Because the more excited we are, the less likely we are to elevate it. Because we can get stuck in the experience and forget about the purpose of the experience. You ever have a situation where you get so caught up in the trappings that you forget why you're there? Right? Sometimes it can happen. You get so caught up in the taste of the food, you're forgetting about the energy that you need to keep on going. And sometimes we might not imagine if you pull into a gas station, you fill up gas, and you're so excited about filling up the gas that you don't even keep on going. You're just like, okay, now we're in the gas station. We're just gonna sleep it off. Like, what is happening here? So you forgot the whole reason why you're here. You're here because you're doing something positive. And to do something positive, you need energy. So you got to refuel. So what he's saying here is that when a person rids himself of desire for the physical, meaning that my objective is not the physical food, it's the energy, the spiritual energy, and eats only because he needs to eat. I'm just repeating that line, that last line. He does not taste the flavor of the food or enjoy it as much. You're still going to enjoy it, but it's not about the enjoyment. It's about the elevation. Let's continue. On a universal level, last paragraph. Before the sin of the tree of knowledge, the world was more refined, since there was no physical enjoyment, meaning it wasn't about enjoying food, it was about refueling. Before the sin of the tree of knowledge, it was very clear. Eating is like filling up your car for gasoline. The serpent came along and said, yeah, but it's tasty. You're going to love it. That was the first time a human being ever was like, oh, maybe I'll like it. It wasn't about liking it. Liking it? Who said you have to like it? It's very pragmatic. You need fuel. This will give you fuel. Only because of the sin, last line of page 54, only because of the sin did the concept of desire enter man, top of page 56. Remember that the temptation for desire initially came from the serpent, but after they ate, now desire is internal. Now we want it because it's tasty, not only because it contains the energy we need. This caused the world to descend, and enjoyment came to be. Before the sin, man did not desire, meaning he didn't desire the physical pleasure of it. It was all about the purpose. Although he dealt with physical matters, he did not derive any pleasure from them. Very simple. I like those two words that I just stumbled upon. Pleasure versus purpose. What is the experience about? Is it about, oh, I enjoy it? Or is it about the tachlit, the purpose, connecting to our Wednesday class? Is it about the purpose of the experience? Very simple, and it's one or the other. It's like, are you doing it because it feels good or because you need it for a greater purpose, for a greater end? Very simple. Why are we eating? Mindfully, why are we eating? And it's true, even if you eat for pleasure, it's still going to give you fuel for the next good thing. That happens by default. But the question is, in your intention, what is it about? The pleasure or the purpose? Before the sin, says Kabbalah, it was clear eating was for the purpose. It wasn't for the pleasure. No one is going to install an electric charging thing in their garage for their new Tesla because the Tesla enjoys electricity. That's crazy. That's nuts. What are you saying? My car enjoys electricity. Enjoys electricity? Don't you mean to say it needs to run? Like there's a purpose? No, it enjoys it. Well, then you have a crazy car. You have a weird car. It's so weird for everything else except for human beings. And we're the only ones who are like, it's totally normal to sit down at a meal just because it tastes good. We're the only people we're the only creation. Like, I'm not saying animals not, but I'm saying it's a crazy thing. And it wasn't initially like that. It's a bug, they say in Hebrew, a juk bug. It's a bug that enters the system post-sin. Suddenly now, I enjoy it. You enjoy it? Are you weird? You enjoy it? You have sugar? You're enjoying food? You need it to fuel up. I know we all enjoy food, by the way, just to clear the record. I'm saying, but from this perspective, it's like, what are you? You got mad? Are you crazy? What are you doing? You're enjoying food. You need food as fuel to do the next good thing. What are you enjoying it? But this is where we're at. Chava saw that it was tov le'einayim or nechmad le'einayim, whatever the language is, that it was good. That her eyes opened up to the concept of pleasure. There wasn't a thing before. Pleasure, purpose. Now it's pleasure. What purpose? Let's go. Similarly, nowadays, second paragraph 56. The fact that there is physical enjoyment in food, which lowers a person immensely, God forbid, meaning it can schlep you down, is a result of man's desire for the physical. However, when he rids himself of desire for pleasure, he stops enjoying it and only appreciates the strength he gains from it. Now, will we ever really strip ourselves from desire for pleasure? I mean, really? What are we going to turn into angels? Like, are we ever going to get ourselves to a place where it's going to be totally, completely, and exclusively about the cause and the purpose, with no mix in, with no element at all of pleasure? Probably not. But it's certainly an interesting bar to an interesting, milestone or achievement to try to hone in on. We're going to pause for today because I feel like the next piece of it is now talking about sacrifices and the oneness of God. And it's going to take more introductions than for today. Today, I feel like we have a nice closed thing. So hold on for one second. Let me just close it out. So I feel like we have a nice closed conversation today. I started off by saying that the Arizal, brought so much Kabbalah to the table. He spoke about reincarnation, spoke about spark, spoke about purpose, really about uniting everything, kind of like drawing lines of connection between seemingly disconnected things. Okay, that was one point. And then we got into this idea of the sin of Adam and Eve. And we explained that what was the problem? The problem was that the snake said to them, hey, eat it not because you need the energy, but eat it because it looks good. Eat it because it tastes good. And eat it when you're not supposed to eat, what you're not supposed to eat, when you're not supposed to eat it, and eat it only because you'll enjoy it. And that was a profoundly degrading moment for humankind. Profoundly degrading. Because imagine you take an entity that lives for pure tachlit, pure purpose, like purpose-oriented, and instead you put this whole layer of now I got to deal with what I want, what's pleasurable as opposed to what I'm here for. Talk about a distraction. This colossal distraction is now plopped inside the human being, just as a byproduct of that sin. And who initiated? The serpent. And now we have to deal with it. And now every time we sit down to eat, we have to have a conversation with ourselves. Am I going to do it for the pleasure or for the purpose? And I got to figure that out. And so that's why we have a blessing beforehand, to try to get ourselves into that focused state of, I am eating this for the sake of heaven. Meaning I'm eating it for the energy to do the next good thing. That's why I'm eating. And the blessing afterwards, saying, thank you for the energy. Now I'm going to use it for the right purpose. So I'm eating it for the right purpose, and then I'm going to use it for the right purpose. Blessing before and blessing after, the blessing sandwich. And all of that is done. He didn't come back to the circle of the treachery. But all of that is done with an element of duplicity, of cunning. We go into the experience looking like everybody else that's eating, right? You're at a ballpark, you're at a ball game, you pull out your kosher hot dogs. I'm just talking about myself, right? Foil wrappings, not foil. They don't let you with foil. You put the hot dogs in a clear Ziploc. If you want to get into the baseball stadium, it's got to be in a clear Ziploc bag. You got to be able to inspect it. Here are my hot dogs, and they're kosher. And not only are they kosher, but I also saved $100 on 5 hot dogs. So I'm now ahead of the game. Right, you bring in the kosher hot dogs, and then you eat it, and you wash your hands, and you say a blessing before, and you eat it. But you look around the stadium, this guy's eating a hot dog, and that guy's eating a hot dog. It looks the same. But meanwhile, oh boy, the serpent doesn't even know. Because on the outside, it looks like you're eating a hot dog. Aha, another guy who's eating a hot dog. But you're eating it in order to have the energy after the game to study some Torah and to cheer on your Braves. But that's aside. The point is that that's where the battlefield of life lies. Purpose or pleasure. Will we keep the end, the tachlit, the end goal in mind and be like, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing. I even understand what I need to do along the way. And everything I'm doing along the way is only necessary for the end goal. Or do we get distracted? Oh, shiny thing in front of my eyes. Oh, look at that food. It's so good. And then we forget about where we're actually headed. And we might end up losing out on the purpose because we got so distracted by the pleasure. Distraction by pleasure is the aim of the serpent. Our job is to combat that, flip it, fix it, tikkun, birur, grab those sparks and run. And we do that with a little cunning. We go in like everyone else. We wear the suits of Aesop. We wear the brave shirts and the caps. And then we sit down to eat. And when we eat, we do it with a higher intention. That's how you regain the sparks that were taken. It's like a big game of capture the flag. Right now, the serpent's got the flag, and our job is to get it back. And you want to go in and say, I need that flag. They'll say, you're not getting the flag. You got to go in like an ally. No, I'm just like you. I'm also eating for pleasure. And then when they least expect it, you take those sparks and run, Forrest, run. You got to run and take it to the end zone. We're mixing metaphors here. We start off with the Braves, we end up with the Falcons. God bless the Falcons this morning, right? They're playing an early morning game. They should be successful. They should win, only for the sake of my children, who are every week they want to see a victory from the Falconians. Anyway, what's the point? This week, this is the most practical Kabbalah. It's like the most mind-blowing concepts and the most practical. Welcome to Kabbalah. You'll never find something that's disconnected from reality because Torah and Judaism is reality. So what's the message for this week? Next time you sit down and eat, be a little mindful. Be intentional this week. I'm going to say every meal, once a day. Sit down. When you sit down to choose your meal. Morning, afternoon, evening, choose one meal a day this week. Be a little bit more mindful. And it doesn't require mystical meditations and closing your eyes and levitating. Very simple thought. I was put here to accomplish holy things to make the world a better place. I need fuel to do that job. This food will give me that fuel. I'm eating it to have the energy to make the world a better place. That's it. And no longer are you eating for pleasure, now you're eating for purpose. And will it taste good? Sure. But is it about that? Not necessarily. If it tastes good, you know what we call that? Icing on the cake. And you can also enjoy it, but it's not about that. And when you do that, you got one over on the serpent, that wily, sneaky serpent. And that also feels good. to get the serpent back, that feels good. All right, make sense? I love today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I hope it's unforgettable, as I said before, in the sense that it impacts our lives as we live it moving forward. Thank you very much for joining me today. I do need to mention, tomorrow evening, we have a 2-part series with Brendan Murphy, teacher at Marist, on the history and the current state of anti-Semitism. He is a masterful teacher. He is a tremendous presenter. It's a multimedia presentation. So it's full on a multimedia. It's good, I would say, from teenagers up, maybe even a little younger than teenagers. It is highly informative. He's coming from he's a Catholic guy who loves Jews and comes from that perspective. A few have asked about a Zoom or remote option or about it being recorded. Unfortunately, I've not been able to get a definitive answer from him. As of right now, it's in person only. So if you want to do it on Zoom, let me know. And if I hear back if I'm able to get a response from them before tomorrow, I will let you know. But otherwise, as of right now, it's in person, 6:30 to 8:30, 2 hours. We'll have food, 2 hours. It's going to be right here in the Daily Shul. This Monday and next Monday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
You have to register.
Join us.
Or you have to register.
You can come also. It's fine. We'll have seats.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worthwhile to come. I've not been in one of his seminars. 6:30 p.m. Everyone has told me like, oh, Brendan, he's amazing. Like,
I've heard the same
you
thing.
very rarely hear that.
Heard
I know of only one person that say, wow, he's a great teacher. I'm kidding. But I'm saying, just joking. No, but like Brendan Murphy is really like, everyone is like, oh, wow. Like he's amazing. You very rarely hear that about someone. So I'm excited. I will be there as a student to learn and to see, and to learn about things that I don't know about. Okay, that's tomorrow. Great to see everybody.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day and enjoy the barbecue festival. It starts in 20 minutes.
So is pleasure and passion, are those equatable? Pleasure?
No,
passion.
because passion just means excitement, but you could be excited about
Right.
the holy stuff. Passion is something that we don't want to lose. Passion can be channeled into purpose.
Yeah.
That's the point. Pleasure and purpose, they are being pitted here in our text as almost, or sometimes, oftentimes, opposites, diametrically opposed. But passion is just energy. Passion could be for the pleasure, or passion could be for the purpose. So to frame it, the Torah says that when you bring an offering to God, so some of the pieces of the offering you could eat as the bringer, but definitely the blood and the fat you could not eat. It had to be put on the altar, burned as an offering to God. And Kabbalah says, you know what that means? Blood represents passion, and the fat represents pleasure. And the point is that your pleasure and your passion, I mean, your excitement should always be for the purpose. Your passion, your blood should be, I'm excited about the purpose. And even your pleasure, you should enjoy this. We didn't talk about this today. This is now an add-on. You should enjoy the purpose. Not enjoy how it tastes, but enjoy the fact that you have the opportunity to fulfill the purpose. That's the highest level where you transform not just passion, not just channel passion, but even the pleasure.
And without passion, I mean, you can know the purpose, but you're not going to have enough energy to actually pull it off.
We need the passion. There's no other way. All right, good. We'll close out officially. Dr. Maxey, great to see you. Hope you enjoyed. Dr. Alex, good to see you. Sending my best regards and love to you guys. It was so nice to see you earlier. Frank, great to see you. Jackie, great to see you. Fran, great to see you here. Mariana, great to see you here. Natan, great to see you here as well. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon. Shavua Tov. Oh, very important. Very important. Next week, no class. Next week, no class. We have I have the New York, I'll be up in New York for next weekend. All right. Okay, good. Closing it out. We'll see you guys. Take care. Shavua Tov.